Over the last couple of months, I've been really going over this gear resource pack, and I've been wondering whether or not it's actually worth it. I always hear people say that it isn't, and I always say that it isn't, but only until recently did it start really kind of hitting me that maybe it might be worth it. And here's why I say this, okay? It's worth it for me because everything else that I would spend gems on is just not a good idea. All right. To buy chests is a horrible idea for me just because I have all the shards that I need, so I don't need to buy any chests anymore. All of that is just what's called negative roll, where you kind of bet something, but you don't really get much out of it even if you win. If I were to bet my gems on shards that I don't need, that's a negative roll because it's just not worth it. So I would rather spend my gems somewhere else. Now, the main area where I love spending my gems and where a lot of people are going to disagree with me is convenience. I love buying convenience with gems. One of the examples that I buy convenience with or one of the examples that I buy is Sims. Sims are a horrible investment. It costs 80 gems to buy 25 Sims. That is terrible, okay? But I buy them. Why do I buy them? They save me time. That's convenience, okay? Whenever right now I'm trying to get a lot of credits in camping sorry, not sorry. I kind of butchered that whole word right there. I'm trying to get a lot of credits in campaign. So right now I'm buying a lot of energy. I'm refreshing a lot of my energy. This takes up time and gems. And on top of that, it's going to take me even more gems if I want to buy Sims. But is it worth it? Well, no, not really in the terms of gems, but it is worth it in the terms of time. This, I don't really think of it as negative roll because time is one of the assets that you do not own. That's what Mark Cuban said. I like that. I like that quote. Time is an asset that you do not own. So whatever can save me time, I will most likely invest in it. Okay. Even if it costs a lot of gems, if I have the gems and I don't have any better use for them, why wouldn't I buy that thing? So I was really thinking about this whole buying Sims thing and I was comparing it to the gear resource pack and I was wondering, is it worth it? Because in a way, you are getting convenience, right? Let's think about it this way. A lot of people like to say that, oh, you could just play the campaign and you will get more reforges and you will get more gear material. That's true. That's true. But you're also taking into account how many times you want to refresh your energy. You're taking into account how much time you want to add in the campaign. And if you don't want to add a lot of time, you have to add into consideration how much gems you're spending on Sims, right? When you really begin to balance this thing out, it turns into a whole math equation, and it's kind of complicated. And on top of that, you're also willing to bet that when you go through the campaign, you're going to be getting X amount of gems or X amount of gear material or X amount of reforges. So that's another thing that you have to consider is the bet. Are you willing to bet that all the stuff that you're investing in is going to get you what you want? With gear resources, you don't really have to take that bet. The only thing that you're taking on is the inconvenience of how many gems it costs, but you're taking the convenience of everything else. You don't have to worry about any sort of percentages. You don't have to worry about time. As long as you have the gems, you buy things just like this. All right. A real world example of this would be Uber. Uber, I think, is a horrible idea. Horrible. A lot of my friends Uber eats their food, or is that the correct word to say that? A lot of people like to get their food through Uber Eats, and a lot of my friends like to do that, even though they have their own cars and they can go drive themselves to go buy the food. They would rather spend $10 more on convenience rather than just spend 10 minutes to go buy the food themselves. I think that is a horrible thing to do, but I understand because it's convenience. That's what you're buying when you're getting guaranteed things. And that's why they cost so many gems in this case. So, is it worth it? Yes, I think it's worth it if you're into convenience and you have the gems and you have everything else in the game, or at least you're happy with what you have in the game. I personally am happy. I don't have everything in the game. I am still missing some legendary characters, but I am not going to risk my gems, especially a lot of them, just to get these legendary characters that are, probably going to do a million more damage or 2 million more damage than what my current characters are doing. I don't really need that. I'm happy with what I have. So for me, it's just negative reroll spending all of those gems to get characters that I don't actually need. Now, I can imagine two arguments people would make for what I just said. Number one is that they would probably ask me, why don't I just save my gems until that Reforge pack comes out? Do you guys remember that one? The awesome pack that gave you a ton of Reforges? Well, guess what? I have something to say about that. It did come back. And the developers completely butchered that pack. It sucks now, okay? Second argument that people would probably make is like, Well, why don't you just wait until the developers come out with a pack that's actually really good? Really? Really? That's not a good argument because I think a lot of us can agree that the developers are kind of out of it now. Like they're no, don't put your faith on these people. That is a horrible investment to make. Just to wait and to save your gems and hopefully maybe magically one day they'll come out with a super OP awesome chest. I really wouldn't put my gems on it. Okay, so that's two arguments I could imagine people saying. If you guys have your own opinions on what I said, I have absolutely no problem reading them in the comments, and I have absolutely no problem getting dislikes on this video. I know you guys don't care about that if you're going to leave a dislike. I know you don't care about my feelings if you're going to leave a dislike, but I'm just saying, I'm open to criticism because I like hearing feedback from other people. This is just the way I view it. I know some people are going to say, oh, well, you're lucky because you started the game and you have all these gems and all these shards and blah, 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 blah. But that's the way that it is. I do have all these shards and it's awesome. And I can spend gems on basically anything that I want now. All right. I'm not flexing. It's just the truth. Okay. But anyways, I hope you guys have a good day and I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. I'm probably going to make another video tomorrow.